A perfect housewife. Lila was the perfect housewife. She had a beautiful home, a loving husband, and 2 happy children. Her days were filled with a never-ending list of tasks, from cooking and cleaning to laundry and grocery shopping. But Lila didn't mind. She loved taking care of her family and making sure that everything was just right. Every morning, Lila woke up before the rest of her family to prepare breakfast. She would set the table with her finest china and silverware, and serve homemade pancakes or eggs with bacon. Her family loved waking up to the smell of freshly brewed coffee and the sound of Lila humming a tune in the kitchen. After breakfast, Lila would get her children ready for school. She would make sure their uniforms were ironed, their hair was combed, and their backpacks were packed with everything they needed for the day. She would walk them to the bus stop and wave goodbye with a smile. Once her children were off to school, Lila would begin her daily routine. She would dust and vacuum the entire house, do the laundry, and prepare dinner for her family. She was a master in the kitchen, and her husband always raved about her cooking. She could whip up a delicious meal in no time, and there was always enough for seconds. In the afternoons, Lila would take a break from her chores to do something for herself. She would read a book, go for a walk, or meet a friend for coffee. But she always made sure to be back in time to pick up her children from school. In the evenings, Lila would serve dinner to her family at the dining table. They would talk about their day and share stories, and Lila would always listen with a smile. After dinner, she would help her children with their homework and read them a bedtime story. Once her children were tucked in bed, Lila would spend some quality time with her husband. They would watch a movie or play a game together, and Lila would cuddle up next to him on the couch. She was grateful for her perfect life and felt blessed to have such a wonderful family. Lila's days were never dull, but she never complained. She loved being a housewife and wouldn't want it any other way. She knew that her family appreciated everything she did for them, and that was all the reward she needed. Lila was truly the perfect housewife, and her family was lucky to have her. A perfect teacher. Mrs. Jenkins had been a teacher for over 20 years, but she was far from your average educator. She was the kind of teacher that students would remember for the rest of their lives. She had a way of making even the most mundane subjects come to life in the classroom, and her passion for teaching was contagious. From the moment you walked into her classroom, you knew you were in good hands. The room was always filled with energy and excitement, and Mrs. Jenkins had a way of making you feel like you could conquer anything. Whether you were struggling with a particular subject or just needed someone to talk to, she was always there for you. Mrs. Jenkins had a gift for making each student feel valued and appreciated. She took the time to really get to know each and every one of her students, and she genuinely cared about their well-being. She would often stay after class to help students who were struggling, and she would go out of her way to make sure that everyone had the support they needed to succeed. But what really set Mrs. Jenkins apart was her ability to inspire. She had a way of making you believe that you could accomplish anything you set your mind to. Whether it was pursuing a new hobby or chasing your dreams, she was always there to offer words of encouragement and support. Years later, many of Mrs. Jenkins' former students would credit her for their success. They would say that she was the one who gave them the confidence and motivation to chase their dreams and achieve their goals. Mrs. Jenkins may have retired from teaching, but her legacy lives on. She was the embodiment of what it means to be a perfect teacher, and her impact on her students' lives will never be forgotten. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe for more videos, press the bell icon and select all to get notifications.